closer in.
Hello, welcome, ladies, gentlemen, and peerless bladesmen to that 6+++ show. I'm your host Tom, very lowest of men, back with a selection, if you will, of nerds from the 40k team of 6++. And tonight we have an event report for you because we've been to Warhammer World. You all love Warhammer World. It's a great place to go in the UK. Always a good trip, and we took an intrepid team of Plusers out to that this weekend and had a fantastic time. So myself and the wonderful Lee Churchwood are here to unpack it for you. Lee, how are you?
Very well, thank you. Yeah, doing great. Recovered after my weekend of fun, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You were a little bit tired by the end of it, I think. You were certainly flagging.
I am getting old now, mate.
Starting to kick in. But yeah, no, as we'll be talking about, you were experimenting with some slightly different Emperor's Children, so that was really cool to see. And obviously we had a very good weekend. So essentially, guys, here to run us through it is my sensei, Scrivo. Scrivo is in charge. Scrivo, how are you?
I'm really good. I did the opposite to what you guys did and actually had a weekend off doing Warhammer stuff, apart from a bit of painting, and cleaning my hobby room, which is now going to be a studio again, which means you won't have to see the washing anymore.
Don't use a black light in there.
I can tell he's back on his Emperor's Children.
Yes. He really was this weekend.
Yeah, man. So I'm really excited to hear about it because I've only been to one Warhammer World 40k event, and that was my first ever GT. So to hear how the teams format stuff works up there sounds quite interesting as well. So
absolutely. Yeah, amazing. All right, well, we'll hand over to you to basically guide us through it as our host in a moment, Scrib. But before we do that, hello, everyone. You're amazing. Thanks for watching this video. Do hit like and subscribe, leave comments, all that good stuff. That helps us with the algorithmic chaos gods. If you want to sign up and support us as a YouTube member, and we are well on our way to 200 now. Yes. We'd love to have some more because we're greedy and we want a yacht. If you could do that, that'd be absolutely fantastic. And obviously that also unlocks coaching. If you're interested in learning how to play 40k a little bit better and having fun whilst doing so, we've got a bunch of coaches working out of our special coaching Discord, working on all sorts of factions, having a wonderful time. So if that sounds like something you'd like, come and get in touch via our socials as well. And it's, of course, worth a tiny little shout out to our fundraiser, which is ongoing. We're raising money because we want to go and cover WTC. And we're going to stream that, hopefully, in the summer. And you guys have been absolutely incredible. We are pretty much halfway to our goal already. Yeah. And amazing thank you to everyone who has donated. And that leads us to a very special event, which is happening on Thursday night, which is that we're playing doubles on TTS. We're doing a live stream of doubles where the armies have been chosen by our Heroes of the Plus chat, our fans chat. And people will be able to donate into the game to impact the game as it goes as well. So if you feel like chucking a super chat in and causing complete chaos on Thursday night with almost any request 40k base that we can grant, then you can absolutely do that. Scrivo, what are you playing for it?
I'm actually bringing a bunch of horses. I say horses, they're more like dogs that you ride if you're robot men. So it's going to be interesting.
Dave Gresham donated in exchange for Scrivo playing exclusively AdMech horses. In his list, which should be good fun.
The only way to find out how it works, turns out there's only one video on the entire internet about how that detachment works, and it's one that Ed and I did 2 years ago. So
fantastic. Yeah, fantastic.
Still have no clue.
Yeah, you've got that covered. I will be playing BA Dreadnought Spam, and we're going up against Necron's Awakened Dynasty, but no Warriors or Wraiths for Rob, courtesy of someone else's donation. And I believe Jack Chapman has to play the Imperial Agents Assassins detachment, taking one of each assassin. Which, I don't know, he's not said anything about that in the chat script, which to me says enough.
It worries me because normally Jack can be quite good at kind of exploring his feelings, negative and positive. The fact that there's nothing tells me that he's either not read it or he's out doing a montage.
He's probably gone away to stretch the absolute limits of what that can legally be and find something very weird. So that should be good fun. And as I say, if you guys want to come and watch us live on Thursday night playing doubles, and chuck some super chats in and influence the outcomes in the game and do all sorts of madness, we'll have you there as well. And obviously all that money raised is going straight to our fundraiser for our live stream to go and to cover WTC. So massive thank you to all the people who've been donating. I'm sorry that I've had to nag you all. I don't like nagging people about money, but you've all been incredible, and I think the payoff will be well worth it when we get this stream set up going and can bring even more entertainment to people. All right, that's our intro done. Snappy, under 5 minutes. I'm efficient.
Timestamp that shit.
Absolutely ruthless. John, you're now in charge.
Oh, no. Right. So, 4 of you guys went up to Warhammer World for a lovely weekend away.
Mhm.
But what was the vibe going into it? Were you guys just going, right, we're going to Warhammer World, we're going to clearly play at Warhammer World on probably some middling terrain, it's not going to have any plan to it? Or was it something very different? Was it you going and looking at it from the aspect of GW format terrain, being run in the home of GW, where, funnily enough, the terrain's probably designed for the game, is actually designed around it? But what was the goal? Were you guys just going to take 4 typical meta lists, or did you try something a bit different?
We were getting a bit creative. I think vibing. We were vibing up to a point, right? We took. If you look at the armies we took Emperor's Children with Lee, Eldari with me, Grey Knights with Chris, and Admech with Doddy. If you ignore Chris, 3 of those armies are very good, right? Grey Knights obviously a little bit.
If you ignore Chris, not the army, he says specifically.
Grey Knights are a little bit so-so at the moment, but the others are all very strong in the game. But what we decided was we wanted to run different detachments to the usual stuff, to try some different concepts out. And we were playing on GW terrain, which obviously some of those layouts, they are very different to UKTC in terms of the way staging works and the shooting lanes you can pick up and everything else. So, I mean, I think it's probably fair to invite Lee to talk through what he chose and what he was doing with it, because it's a bit different.
It's true. So, first of all, that was the first ever time I've played on GW terrain.
No way.
I've literally never done it before. Seems quite weird considering how long I've been playing. So that didn't really affect my list building at all because, as I was going for vibes, so I just thought, what can we do? So we went for Peerless Bladesman because we were looking at the anti kind of melee kind of area for our team. And from that on, I did a little bit of research, went on BCP and looked at some lists. I'm not going to take credit for my list 100%. It is a little bit different, but is it Matt McCurdy? I think I borrowed heavily from his inspiration. Nice. So I looked at his one he ran on GW terrain, and I liked the ideas that were in that list, and I think there were certain bits I definitely pinched. So Peerless Bladesman, my list was 2 Winged Demon Princes,
nice,
triple Lord Exultant, and each one of those Lord Exultants was carrying a lovely enhancement.
Some really good ones in Peerless, isn't there?
So good. So the first one was the Fights First, once per game. And the idea in the list is you chuck that on a big 10 brick of infractors that ride around in a rhino with their Lordie. And when you need them out, they can be out and rebuttaling anyone's kind of charging melee at you. So that gives you a massive advantage because you can kind of stage really well with them, get them out of the rhino and just be a pest. Then you've got your next Lordie, who is with another 10 infractors, but this guy, what did he have? He had Distortion, which was your +1 damage, +1 attack, which makes him go to damage 3 and just destroy stuff, especially Terminators, we found out. And again, so you've got another good melee brick, but with the kind of idea behind that one is you've got 10 infractors just so basically you get double activation out of that guy so he just doesn't die straight away. So he can have 2 goes at whacking things hard. And then this was the secret sauce, which almost worked perfectly in every game. It was the Lord Exultant with 5 Tormentors. And this guy had Rise to the Challenge, which allows him to fight twice. There are lots of little hoops you've got to jump through, like getting in engagement in specific ways with the units to actually be able to fight twice. But with a 6-inch pile-in and consolidation, you can actually do that quite happily, as long as you've got the right targets. So he stages up the board, and he's my little mini missile to go and sow some chaos in the back lines of my opponents.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll talk about all the adventures that chat went on as we go. But suffice to say, the little mini missile worked an absolute treat. And as I say, we did want to shout out Matt McCurdy because I don't think I'd seen Peerless Blades really run out in the world before. And Matt's obviously a very well-known Space Rules player, and he obviously fancied running at people with a different hat on at some point and took that out.
Completely.
And it's great. Yeah, we really enjoyed this.
That was awesome.
As we'll see, it worked a treat.
Definitely. And then we have the usual cacophonous with one of my 3 Noise Marines, 2 Rhinos, and 3 Flawless Blades and Lucius the Eternal.
Yeah.
Nice.
So ready for a melee ruckus.
Double Fights First, the ability to fight on death, the ability to chase after opponents when they're kind of falling back and trying to run away from you. It was surprisingly easy to play. Also, I would say I didn't really miss the power of coterie, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. We definitely came away really rating it, and I think we'll be
Mm.
interested. Certainly in teams where again you're sort of leaning into what EC want to play anyway. It's a very good toolkit for that. So if you're playing coteries in your board,
There we go.
give it a
Yeah.
go. Peerless is a lot of fun. There's a lot of nonsense going on in there.
That's
For
great.
the rest of our comp, we had Chris wanting to play Banishers. That's his favourite because Chris loves Mists of Deimos. He loves running away from people that want to catch him and doing clever things. And he also wants an anti-4 Chaos strat so he can kill Chaos things, which he did do at least some of the time at this event. And his was very much a sort of blunter type list, aimed to keep gains close. Unless he gets a good in, then he can push more heavily. So then we've got Lee smashing, Chris keeping gains close. Jack Doddy, our lovely slushy slurping friend, wanted to take Cybernetica Admech, which I'd actually played against at ITT and been quietly impressed with. It's a robot and vehicle heavy detachment. It's got some nice sort of defensive buffs for robots and vehicles. It makes the robots a bit punchier, shootier. It's got some ignore mods and various other things going on. And again, he was designing that list to be very hard to beat and to just stand there and be a real blocker of a list, right?
It's what he was using at ITT last month, right?
Mm-hmm.
That detachment.
Yeah, he loves his robots.
He's very experienced with that detachment, which I think is a good thing to note as well.
Completely. And then on top of that, we had the Wind Rider host Eldari, which was me sort of having an eye on what options are there for Eldar after Aspect host gets punted around a bit. And basically combining a lot of the usual Eldar good stuff, your Fuegan, Jane'Zar, and Lycus, but with 4 bricks of Wind Riders, 3 with Shuriken, 1 with Scatter Lasers, to just put a lot of shots out. Which on these boards, when you can get into certain targets and get your angles, does make people go away very quickly. It's a lot of fun.
There were a few firing lanes.
There were some firing lanes, yes, and the Wind Rider host was ready to take full advantage of that. So I think we felt like we had a good comp. We had 2 lists that were a bit fussier, but if you get them the right game, they can go big. A couple of lists that basically will go and dance with most things and are very happy to play anything. But what we were particularly pleased with was that we'd done something different. Every single detachment in there was not the obvious choice, and that was kind of part of the vibing for us. I always think once you're at an event, your ability to take things less seriously is out of your hands because you will turn into you and you will play as well as you're able to play. So you have to set any less seriousness at the level of what detachment you take, what army you take, whatever else. That's the only way you're going to tone yourself down. So I think we'd done that, but we liked what we'd taken. And I think, I definitely came away from this event feeling like the lesson was cooking something interesting on a good army is very valid and very effective actually in teams, because it just means when you play someone, they've never played that before. And we know in teams that's such a powerful thing, right? Especially as we'll talk about, there's a few surprise sucker punches that Lee and I have in our list where it's like, if you haven't played against that before, you're going to lose, right? A lot of the time, because you're not going to get it right the first time. And obviously that gets you that crucial teams differential. So yeah, we were going, I think we had healthy expectations. I think we felt like we could do very well at this event. There was a team with Josh Roberts, Nathan Roberts, Johnny Simmons on it, which we were looking at thinking we're probably not beating that. That's probably quite a difficult team to beat. That's like the whole GW sort of rules network and very strong long-time players. But we were pretty content we could have a good go at the rest of the field. Before we move it forward to Scrib, I'm just going to shout out the chat. We have wonderful Ed Watson, Nightbot's ranting again. I think he's just promoting the GoFundMe. Chaz Watson's in, Dance is in. There's some love for Ed Watts and Halo Creed robots last time, and Cybernetica I just linked more into the Iron Strider because gun lanes on GW is mad. Yeah, Iron Striders I think on GW are really, really nice. And shout out to Luke Redacted, Hayden Ryle, and Arad, who've all become YouTube members. You all rock. I assume that's ahead of participation in our next TTS League, King of the Pink, which starts in January, so that's amazing. Okay, so Scrivo, back over to you, son.
So, going into the event, you get there. First round, what mission were you playing, and how did pairings go? Because this is the interesting one. For 4-man teams, pairings is a little less of a game, really, isn't it? So did you have something in mind where you were going to put one of you always down as first defender?
Yeah, you've sort of, so you can control.
I'd like to jump in, Tom.
Go on.
We didn't actually understand how the pairings worked.
No, we didn't.
Yes. Amazing.
We were learning, we were sort of finding out as we did the first ones, weren't we, Lee?
We were, yes.
If we're being honest. But there are some basics, which is that a defender can avoid one thing.
Yeah.
and then whoever you're leaving as your sort of reserve in this plays the rejected, from the first round of pairings, which in this instance means those are the two areas where you can slightly control who someone plays, and then a lot of the rest of it is very much out of your hands. And so, in that sense, I think for the first round, we played against. Let's have a look.
We were playing against the Sanguine Spanners.
We played the Sanguine Spanners.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Some lovely lads. And we've played guys from their team at the last couple of ITTs. They always give us a good game. And I think lists-wise, they had one that freaked us out a bit, which was the Soul Forged Warp Pack, which was a very shooty, lots of vehicles list, which was a little bit concerning. But otherwise, it was lots of infantry heavy lists. There was a BA list with quite a lot of foot intercessors. There was Votan, and then Emperor's Children. So I think we were broadly, with our range of quite good armies that were quite good into infantry, we were feeling fairly content. I don't remember exactly what our chain of pathways of pairings was, but I got Votan, which was yummy. Lee got Blood Angels, which he was very happy with as well. Chris took the Emperor's Children, and then Doddy with his Admech went to have a sloggy, grindy game against the CSM, the Warp, the pack, whatever it is. So I think pairings-wise, we were reasonably happy, and I think it was one of those fours where we felt like it couldn't go too wrong in terms of there weren't too many like disaster scenarios we needed to try and avoid here. Okay.
So how did that round then go as a whole? Was there any key bits in the round that you think kind of are worth kind of highlighting? Like,
I know Chris 20-0'd the Emperor's Children, so I'd love to know what happened there.
Chris has done a video that was out this afternoon about his Banisher's run at Warhammer World. So if you want to go into specific details with that, Chris has got a video. You can watch that after the stream.
He did actually. He sent me a tiny summary actually. So let me have a look.
So good at this promotion stuff, guys.
Seamless, boys.
Some might say the best.
Oh, very good. Chris said, lovely game into Ollie and his EC. He deployed quite defensively, so I picked him off piecemeal. Fulgrim survived a Purifier shooting phase against the Anti-Chaos 4-up strat, but then only killed 3 interceptors. Lad, 20-0. There we go.
I can hear Chris's voice then.
Peak Fulgrim. Lee, how was your game with the
BA? So I was playing Kit Wells Mafurby on his Blood Angels. I got first turn, which is exactly what you want if you're playing Peerless, because you get to stage on them and set everything up for your go turn, whereas they have to kind of walk almost into your threat ranges to get anywhere where they can do the same to you. And my Tormentor Lord Exultant missile was fired. Again,
spam.
Obviously, Tormentors can infiltrate, so you put them nice and high up the board. It's a little bit risky against Blood Angels, but we were there for vibes and fun, so I did that anyway. And if I get first turn, they advance and charge into the heart of the army, and I think their target this one. I didn't like the Death Company particularly. I thought they were going to be quite good into me, so that's where they went. And I think I left him with 4 left and Lamartes after their little charge and fight turn 1. And it's great just for giving your opponent problems in their deployment zone that they've got to solve while you get nice and comfortable in the middle of the board, ready to end them turn 2. But it was a good fun game, really good fun game. Blood Angels are great. Normally, Blood Angels, I would say, if you're playing Emperor's Children, I think we have 46% win rate against Blood Angels. Not our best matchup by any stretch of the imagination.
No.
But when you can, on one turn, fight first somewhere, interrupt somewhere, and fight on death somewhere, you flip a turn to actually being your power turn. And that's when you win the game. And I'm pretty sure that did happen at one point.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's where I think the Peerless control kit's just so good, right? I think you're leaving them with a lot of bad choices once you've gone first.
Cool. And then, Tom, how did it go for you?
Windrider Votan is a case of the Votan aren't quick enough to correct their positioning. So you just annihilate a bit of the Votan army at a time, measuring very carefully where the rest of the Votan army can get to. And then eventually there's no Votan army left. And in this case, poor Josh, so he castled up quite defensively. He was a lovely guy. He castled up quite defensively down one flank, which was the flank I hit. And in my first salvo, Fuegan popped his land fort, which then exploded and just blew absolute chunks through his whole little sort of castle of other infantry there. Because a D6 explosion on a land fort, which I didn't know. which sort
Oh
of
yeah.
definitely sped up the collapse of that side. I think it's a first turn game, but the Votan need to get out and get some space for their Hearthguard to drop into. So just like me going first helps a lot because I can screen out all the space, and then you end up with his Hearthguard landing on his own home objective to try and defend that, right? So he's out of the game at that point because Votan are too slow to make up that ground once they've dropped in there. So I think it's just a rough matchup for the Votan. I think, especially sort of land fort style Votan, where the land forts just have no chance against something like Fuegan. He just makes them go away immediately, basically. But yeah, lovely guy. He took his exploding fort really well, so we had a lot of fun.
But sometimes that can be nice, watching things go cataclysmically wrong for yourself, just because then you kind of go, well, it can't be any worse next game.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how I treat it anyway, and every game's the same. So
and it definitely, I think the list where I've combined the sort of Phoenix Lord good stuff with the Wind Rider, I think it worked really well here because what having Fuegan in Wind Rider gives you is the bikers are just free to just bully infantry, basically. They don't need to worry about trying to amp up and crack a tank or something like that because Fuegan will do that.
Yeah.
They can literally just pick off everything that's not a tank. And they're very happy and good at doing that. So I think if you're trying to use Shuriken to solve the big stuff, that's where you have a bit of an issue with Wind Rider. It struggles a bit with that. But I think basically Fuegan just does his stupid thing of being ridiculous, and then that covers it.
Was this the same list exactly as you took to Thursday Night Fight Night a couple of weeks back?
Yeah, it was. So it was the one I played on the stream that you saw. So it was basically the exact
scalpels.
same macro that you saw, where I absolutely annihilate one side and then sort of hoover my way across with Shuriken.
Because you got the movement to relocate.
That's exactly it.
The Votan's going, well, we're little short
to
guys.
any army
Cool.
that can't get back across, it's really vicious, right?
Yeah. I can see like a lot of very honest armies, like even an Orc army. It's got one really fast go turn.
Oh, there's an Orc army coming, John. Don't you worry.
I can see you just reposition yourself and it goes, well, I'm just going to have to come at you normally now, and that just doesn't work, right?
And that's it.
And this, the day one, we're saying we're on layout 1 for GW.
Cool.
Yeah.
And was this the first one? Wasn't Hammer and Anvil?
It's tipping point. So it's like still flat front
Nice.
though. Yeah.
And the No Man's Land objectives are quite open on this layout, from what I remember. So that's what I mentioned.
They're open if you let the opponent be alive on the side they're on, and if you don't, then suddenly they're actually really close.
Yeah. So after this round, you've had a nice sort of success. Do you have to go and queue at a food truck outside, or is it quite a shift in the food meta, shall we say?
Jack Doddy led us into the heart of Games Workshop itself. So we're in Warhammer World. We're in the big hall. We've got all the wonderful tables. It's worth saying we're playing on proper plastic terrain as well.
That's beautiful.
GW terrain on the board.
Was it the printed mats they've got as well, where the layouts are the actual mats? That's really cool, I think, because you can't fuck that up.
Beautiful. You've got table space. We've got little lanyards.
They're taller now as well, right?
All the good stuff.
And the terrain's set up for you before you even get there.
Terrain set up, the board set up, everything's in the right place. Really nice. And then it's good food as well. So they put on a sort of buffet spread and everything else. And on day one, I actually ate the right amount. On day two, I got overzealous. And
that's the problem. You're like, and you get a cake and some squash.
A lot of fun. And we were obviously having a natter with the Robertses and Johnny Simmons who were there, and just generally getting pepped up. So but mood very high, and it was a very easy, relaxed lunch where it felt like we actually got enough time to sit down and eat and do things, which was great. Yeah.
So then going into round 2, did you have much time to prepare? Because obviously you're there on your lunch break.
We don't have much time to prepare. One thing they do like to do at the GW events is basically just do the pairings like it's the round. There you go. There's your pairing. Off
you don't get to overthink, which I kind of like that in singles, but for teams, not so useful.
100%. So we were then paired into. We had the third bucket rides again.
There's obviously a story there, and I'd love to know what it is.
I think these were a bunch of really lovely lads. I think some of them were incredible hobbyists and painters. I think they'd probably been paired up, as well. I'm not sure. They may have won round one, I'm not sure. But it was certainly a team where it felt like, again, the vibes were quite chilled and relaxed, and they had some incredible modelling and stuff going on as well. There was a Templars army where had lots of sisters bits converted in. Paul Scott's Eldari was just utterly beautiful, proper rainbow Eldari, looking absolutely phenomenal. So they were very nice. And again, it was one of those comps where I think there wasn't too much of a panic. I think people didn't want to play their Eldar because people don't like playing Eldar as a general rule of thumb.
It's still the boogeyman, right? even though
Yeah.
they've had some tone. This was
This is
pre-Balance
pre-nerf,
Data
right?
Slaves,
So this
right?
is still
So-
this is still no joke. And I think certainly for things like the Abmate, just not getting Eldard felt like pretty good. But then otherwise, it was pretty flexible. So we had pairings wise, I think we had again Abmate just sort of took something and troubleshot and got things going for us. So Dottie played Black Templars this round. These guys, you could at this event take multiple Space Marine armies, and these guys did that.
All right. Okay.
Elliot Thulis, who Chris played, took White Scars, the new White Scars detachment, and he had Subadin Khan
Oh yes, I love that model.
in the
So
Spear
cool.
Point Task Force. So Chris played him. Lee got some more Blood Angels.
Oh nice.
Enemy the Blood Angels.
Yeah.
This was a very different list, which we'll let Lee tell you about in a second. And I got the Eldari mirror basically. So yeah, I mean, maybe you want to tell people about this quite unique Blood Angels list, Lee.
So it was 2 Land Raiders and then multiple units of 5 Terminators, some with claws, some with shields, some, just all the Terminators. It was
With the old data sheets, right? So the melee guys are less attacks than they would be now.
Yeah. It was a lot of 2 up, 3 wound, maybe 4 wound with shields.
Shields, yeah.
Terminators. And Rory was a lovely bloke, but and you could tell that he was there for the fun of it. He was there for his love of Warhammer.
Yeah,
He was having a great time, whatever happened, running his Terminators and pushing his Land Raiders about. And there were a few kind of hints that this might be the case, but when he drew containment in round 3 in his cards on his phone, and I had to tell the poor man that the containment wasn't a current secondary that he could complete.
Good. That is
I was just like,
good.
oh god, I've missed that.
And he's like, I've been running my 2 Land Raiders up the flanks in case it came up.
But
How did the Land Raiders move on the boards? Did he actually get them out of his deployment?
That's a good question.
There's quite a lot of space there's not a huge amount of space, but there's enough space to deploy to and get them straight out of your deployment zone. Unless you go turn 2 and 10 infractors charge them and pin it to the side of the board. And then,
Oh, this is the Lee I remember. Oh my god.
Yes.
This is terrifying.
then your Terminators get really angry whilst they're looking out the windows. But he again made some bold choices. But he said at the end of the game he wouldn't have done it any other way. He put he put his Terminators in the Land Raiders, and then every other unit of Terminators was in Deep Strike.
Very thematic, yeah.
It was very thematic, and
Jeez.
which meant that I could run pretty much the length of the board and screen the whole board out, apart from 2 inches at the back of the board.
That's horrible.
Which means that your Terminators, when they do come on, can't get to the middle objectives because it takes them a couple of turns when the children run away.
Yeah.
But I had fun and he had fun, and
That's the important thing, I think.
great. It was great.
Yeah. Absolutely. And elsewhere, we had Jack Doddy, who'd won 11-9 in his first game. He won 11-9 again here, so that list doing its keeping scores close.
Nice.
And I believe him and Denzo had a really fun game there. Chris beat the White Scars 17-3. I think Chris felt that the... in fact, hold on. I have his words for you here.
Yes.
I have the words of our captain. Pray silence for the words of our captain. He said, Game 2, hilarious game into Elliot. Hefty testicles were spoken about more than is conventional. Was able to hammer a flank and primary deny against the White Scars 17-3. So there you go. Hefty testicles. Do you feel jealous at all, John?
I feel like my ears were probably burning at this point.
Yeah, I imagine they probably were.
I'm not sure why. But yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So
Tom,
that was a solid score. Yep.
the mirror.
Yeah. So one of
But
the
not
perks-
not a real mirror, right? 'Cause
One of
this
the
is
perks
different
of Wind
detachments.
Rider. This is Aspect Host versus Wind Rider. One of the perks of Wind Rider is that it's very good against Aspect Host because Aspect Host is lots of little bodies on foot, and Wind Rider Host has one unit in the Scatterbikes unit, which if it actually drops in the midst of an Aspect Host army, can kill 5 or 6 of those little units in a go, which is quite spicy. So in this game, I was playing against Paul. Paul had the Avatar and Azaman. He had a full 10 Brigadar Avengers with Azaman, and then Warp Spiders, Banshees, all that kind of stuff. He'd cut down the Fire Dragons. He'd gone for just 5 in a Falcon. So he'd slightly trimmed down the anti-tank, but he had a lot more anti-infantry and speed. And Paul got first turn. and he did a little baby send, and he sent some things in, and he killed my Rangers, and he killed my War Walker and some stuff in the midboard, to which I then absolutely full sent back at him and killed probably most of an Eldar army, unfortunately, because I think Warp Spiders getting into the right places is brutal there. My Lycus got the jump on his Lycus. I put mine far enough back. He then moved his up. Then mine charged his. So he loses his Lycus. He loses all his Banshees and various things. He has the Avatar of Cain, which after about the first 2 turns is almost the last guy left, but I can't do anything about him by that point. We're playing Take and Hold. My Fire Dragons have died for the cause by this point up on the lines. And so the Avatar basically stands there and gets him points for several turns, and we have a lot of fun cheering on the Avatar as Shuriken bounce off him and doesn't do much to him. And yeah, Paul's a great guy, really fun. I think he was just a little bit. He was too overzealous with his push without actually doing enough with it. So he either needed to wait a little bit longer or go
harder, right?
He got caught in 2 mines and then got picked up. And I mean, the Eldar Mirror is always absolutely vicious whichever way it goes. There's not really a stable outcome in that game. So that was 18-2 to me in the end, but Paul was really fun. And he was one of the best army nominations at the end with his incredible paint scheme as well, and he fully deserved that.
Fantastic.
So yeah, super work there. Yeah, so that was a solid win for us, and they were really fun. We really enjoyed playing those guys. It was a good time.
So then, because you're on 2 wins, do you guys then have to go and really hit the top levels, or have you still got another step on the ladder?
It starts getting pretty serious from here on out. For the next couple of rounds, we basically play people who are in the hunt for the podium places, really.
Nice.
And we're drawn into one of those, and we play against Bogmasters, who are, I believe, a number of Warmasters players.
Nice.
But I think there's a group of friends involved there where they go back and Bogmasters was the old name or something like that. I'm not sure. But they were captained by Callum Brownson Smith, who I didn't recognise the name, but when I saw him, I realised he's a gentleman. I'd had a very narrow win over him at one of the Super Majors towards the end of 9th, playing Eldar against his Thousand Sons. And I remember that game very vividly because I had an awful migraine and he was just the nicest, sweetest, most helpful man in that game, and we had a fantastic time, and he sort of brought me back to life in that game. So it was actually awesome to see him again. Because he's just such a nice guy. And there was a couple of the others there. Guillaume Botball, T-Sun's player, really well. He plays UKTC a lot. Nicholas Eck on AdMech. So these were guys who were like some quite solid players, quite well known. And the other fun one was Ethan Richards, who I've not seen out at events before, playing Templars for them. But it turned out he used to sit near me in music at sixth form. His hair's gone since then, so I didn't recognise him.
It's happened to a lot of us, mate.
Yeah, I know, but that was a really lovely surprise because actually it turns out
cool.
a few of the lads I know from my sixth form play the game now, which is really cool. It's actually quite funny to think about people from then all getting into nerdiness these days. So that was awesome as well. So yeah, this was a strong team with a good comp, so we had to come up with some good solutions here.
So did you guys kind of keep the same sort of pattern with the putting the same defender down, or was it just
Yeah, I think broadly yes. I'm pretty sure it was AdMech go to take something, and then we sort of start it out from there.
Essentially that's all you get to do, really. So
yeah, exactly that. We had a few decision points here. I didn't want to play the Thousand Suns because Thousand Suns spook me, and the AdMech list was quite difficult. And Nicholas Eck, it's worth saying, 20-0'd I think everybody else he played in every other round. So that's a very dangerous list with a lot of push potential. So we had to manage that, and the Templars as well. So there was a bunch of different things to manage. And in the end, we got AdMech into the Templars. I played against the Emperor's Children, which we'll talk about in a moment. And that was Callum, the lovely lad I played before, piloting those. Guillaume's T-Sons went into Lee's Emperor's Children. And Chris decided to hold the line against Nicholas's AdMech as well. So Chris was going in on blunting Juicy with the GK here.
So should we start with you, Lee? How did it go going into a different army? So not Blood Angels. Were you confused?
Well, I didn't really want T-Suns, if I remember.
No, you didn't.
I didn't really want T-Suns because they have a lot of shooting. Those Terminators and their output is unbelievable. They will pick up a 10 Man of Infractors and a Lord Exultant like a snap of the fingers. And their Overwatch is really scary as well. And with the GW terrain, there's not always the terrain to actually hide around to actually get to where you want to go. So it does get quite tricky, but my little Tormentor missile works again. So again, he just goes out turn one and goes and kills 10 bow goats, and then with the second fight
Yeah.
gets into Terminator Source. No, not a Sorcerer on disc and his little fly mates as well, and puts that sorcerer down to 1 wound and kills all his friends. And that is how every game pretty much started.
Oh gosh.
So
It's a good tempo piece, isn't he? Just
that
gets
was
stuck
huge.
straight in. Yeah,
Because you're then touching something else behind that, and it is literally a problem. Straight away, you're giving your opponent a problem rather than giving them breathing space to think about what they're going to do.
Yeah.
And with terrain layout one, you've got a lovely kind of L in the center to the left, where I think this one was hidden supplies. You've got an objective behind there, and that's one of the only missions in the whole kind of weekend where you had objectives in cover, which is hugely helpful. So from there on, it was a little bit of the Terminators playing quite cagily, and it took them a while to actually come out from their hiding spots behind their home kind of deployment ruins, where I got to hold a lot of primary, sticky a lot of primary, and then set myself ready for when they did poke out or give me enough stuff to look at. I think that was turn 3 was the full send, where I had Lucius, 2 Demon Princes, my remaining big Infractor brick could all go at the same time and hit different targets across the front of his deployment zone. And my lovely opponent, it was great fun, and we had a lovely game. But he said, I think he was talking to his friends at the end of the game, and he said, I've not played a lot of EC, and I've definitely not played a lot of Peerless, and I'd taken him through exactly how the Tormentor Lord Exalted Brick would work, what I wanted it to do, and where it was going to go. And he hadn't fully appreciated it until he actually sees me doing it. What it actually looks like and how it actually works. And as Tom said at the start, it's that advantage when you've got people playing against the unknown. It just gives you an extra 10%, I think.
I completely agree. I think it's massive, and I'm increasingly an advocate. Obviously, when an army's just broken, it's slightly different, right? But certain armies kind of force you to consider them or use them. But I think if you're in a more balanced game, as we are a lot of the time, mercifully now, just having that little bit different is really valuable. And it's something a lot of the biggest international teams, you think France, US, they always do this. They never just bring the obvious stuff, right? And as you say, Lee, it's those little percentages that you gain from that, because there's a very real chance that it's that person's first game against what you do, and that gives you a massive advantage.
And I think that finished up 15-5, and I think we were the very last game to finish. We had a little bit. And I did have a lot of people milling around the table, so to find out what the result was, because I think it might have been important.
It was quite the close round, wasn't it? So elsewhere, Jack Doddy with his 11-9 list, I think this time came out the other end of it, I'm pretty sure. I think he went down 9-11 this time, but still keeping things very close. And that was against Ethan's Black Templars, so very well played, Ethan. And then Chris turned up in Chris Tull style here and fully blunted Nicholas X Admech and got a 10-10 there, which was ideal. Because again, I can't emphasize enough how much Nicholas smashed people all weekend.
We've got Jack in the chat as well, I think, at the moment, saying he loves his robots. Rare enough, no one knows quite what they do.
Yes.
In the Templar games, they didn't commit enough to deal with them.
Yeah, exactly that. They're durable, right? They're deceptive. They're actually a very annoying unit to deal with, and they have a few unique things going for them. And again, people write a unit off when they haven't seen it before and assume I must not have seen this because it must be rubbish. But actually, that's not how the game is anymore. There's usually something you can do with every unit, really. And so Chris's report here was epic chess match against Nicholas and his Admech. Really collaborative, everything you'd want. We both made a few micro mistakes. I was up going into bottom of 5, 13-7, but it finished 10-10 because going first on hidden supplies sucks. Great game, though. So yeah, this round, as you can see on scores, was very close. Lee had got us a very crucial 15. The other games very close. And essentially, I'd paired into the Emperor's Children, and exactly the logic we were talking about before, which is the unknown factor. Emperor's Children, anyone will tell you, is not a nice game for Eldar and can go very wrong. But my assumption was I was going to have a better understanding of how Wind Rider and Emperor's Children played against each other than Callum had. with the Emperor's Children. And I think that was exactly how this one played out. Wind Rider Host has some incredible sort of sucker punches in its locker. You can bring stuff in turn 1, so you can be catching angles with Wind Riders off the board edges.
Nope.
You also have the option to rapid ingress turn 1, and this is huge. You can bring a bite unit in by a rapid ingress and then counterattack immediately, which for an army like EC, which is like, I'm going to stage, you can go, yep, I'm going to immediately hit you back rather than be stuck trying to scramble to respond to that. And obviously then as far as the list goes, I've got a lot of damage to AP shooting to pick up all the normal Marine bodies, and then Fuegan, I back to at least kill one Demon Prince at some point, and then I'm hoping that's enough in the game. And we had an amazing game. Callum is just such a gentleman to play. We talked through it. It was really chatty. He said literally at the start of the game, I suspect I'm going to lose this one because I don't understand how to play it, but I'll be all right for next time. And that was more or less exactly how it went. He went first. He pushed one Rhino right out on the far side, and then he staged up another one centrally. This was quite a good stagey board, but then I ingressed a Wind Rider unit just outside on the flank to counter-attack. And he'd had one mistake in his deployment, which is he decided to put his Tormentors. I think he only had the one unit because he was running the Triple Demon Prince. He'd put that on the flank, not on his home. Then he realised exactly how annoying Wind Rider was going to be for getting in behind him all game, because I could drop in there any time with 6-inch deep strike. I can fire and fade after killing a thing. There's lots of ways I can get there. So he's stuck with a Demon Prince on that back objective for a minute, not sure what to do with it because he's not got his Tormentors in the right place. So he gets a little bit caught there, but he also puts some Noise Marines on the back in the short term, ready to get into a Rhino once he's charged out of it later. But one of those is on the GW Ruin Invisible. So then that ingressing Wind Rider brick jumps out, kills one of the Noise Marine squads immediately in turn 1, which helps me massively because they delete elves. They're really vicious into elves. On the other side, because I've got a combination of all my different shooting, and I can 6-inch deep strike a bike squad to get an angle, I can open up the Rhino, kill the Lord Exultant inside so he can't stage and counterattack with that. And then another Lord that he sent for some ranges. EC do struggle to trade with those early chaff units. Gets killed as well. So he's lost a lot of stuff turn 1. Then he turns it into an incredibly violent game. There's Demon Princes running around. It's exactly like I said. I managed to kill one, then there's 2 that become but functionally immortal at that point because I haven't got anything left that can kill them because Fuegan's dead. But in that anarchy, I'm able to sort of start it out and get enough points, and I've got the end game, so I can get a 13, I think, in the end. And as Callum himself said afterwards, I think that's a game EC can 100% win, but not if you don't know what's going to happen the first couple of times and you don't know the playthroughs. Because I say the ingress with the Wind Rider brick is huge because it comes out, it kills one Noise Marine squad. They're then looking at his staged Rhino. So when the next Noise Marine squad get out of that, I've got full rerolls with lethals, shuriken, and just kill a whole bunch of those Marines as well. And that's like over half of his like anti-elf shooting dead at the start of the game, essentially, which is massive in the tempo of that game.
I would say, why are you getting them out of the Rhinos?
I think he should have just stayed and shot the bikes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And I think there was a bit of a panic if he's trying to push out and get involved in the game again. And he thought he needed the extra shots, but yeah, just stay in the Rhino, right? But yeah, as I say, Callum was a gent, and I suspect I don't want to play him on that army again because I don't want him. He's not going to fall for that nonsense twice.
You're gonna have to find something else.
Yeah, you always got to find fresh nonsense. So we got just over the line here. We got 47-33, and I think the win was 43 on this.
Yeah.
So I think our comp did its job here, holding the line. We got the wins for the 2 armies, but we were playing against very good caliber players here, so obviously they held us up very nicely, and our score was far lower. And that was a fantastic game. So
how many firsts and seconds did you guys get across the...
I had second in that one. Chris went first. I think Doddy went first. Can't remember. It was a bit of a... I feel like we had about 2 and 2 each time.
Yeah,
across.
I always find that interesting, like how sometimes the scores don't reflect that as well, because if people played it correctly by going first.
100%. A few shout-outs in the chat. Hi, Marco. Hi, Ali G. Inderhood. I'm glad you're painting Shining Spears. You can use them in here, and you can turn 1 rapid ingress with the Shining Spears. I am a known Shining Spear lover. Unfortunately, I just I do think at the moment probably they don't quite bring you what you need to be consistent in Wind Rider, but you can do lots of very fun things with them, and they do combo with all the strats really well. So if you want to be a real hero, instead of ingressing Wind Riders turn 1, you can ingress 6 Shining Spears and then just hammer them at someone.
Yeah. Charge the home objective. Done.
And when we get the Autark on bike, which we surely will, suddenly that detachment becomes very, very spicy indeed. But we'll have to wait for him to turn up. I'm sure he'll turn up one day.
Yeah. So that was the end of day one.
Yep.
Did you guys do the sensible thing and get an early night? No Baileys?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. We sat in quiet contemplation at home and then went to bed.
And Lee didn't get food poisoning.
We drank
right?
a bunch of beers, and in Doddy's case, just milkshakes and sugar, because Doddy doesn't drink, but he does absolutely pummel sugar, doesn't he, Lee?
He's a monster.
A pint of iron brew.
Yeah, he had a pint of iron brew. He had a milkshake followed by a pint of iron brew at this thing.
That curdles in his stomach,
Unbelievable.
surely.
That's
Oh,
it.
God.
And so there were a lot of silly stories told, and we got a bit tipsy. We stayed out a little bit later than perhaps we should have done. Some whiskey was drunk. A good time had. And when we stayed at Wonderful Doddy's house,
Nice.
and it was really, really fun. So that was good, and I think we got about the right amount of merrymaking in that we weren't written off the next day.
Because sometimes team events can become such a slog that you're just not really having the fun. You're just a bit too focused on the result, right? So then going into Sunday morning, you get there quite early, I'm guessing.
Yep.
Prepping your Matrix.
We didn't really do Matrix.
Matrixes didn't happen.
It's just basically picking who you're going to throw forward first and then pick two that go into their attacker, right? It's like,
that's
not
right.
much else you can do, right?
We had a hell of a draw in the Sunday morning because we drew emphasis on the D6, which is the team that had Josh Roberts, Nathan Roberts, Johnny Simmons, and Scott Peary. So these are all GW Rules team people.
Ah, good.
And they had been absolutely slapping people about on day one. And obviously Josh and Nathan Roberts are both Team England stalwarts of many years, lots of experience. Johnny is a very excellent player and has a lot of sort of history at the highest level now since he appeared a few years ago with Admech primarily. So this was a really strong team. They were semi-vibing. I say semi-vibing. Nathan was playing a weird Chaos Knights list with triple Abominant and a Despoiler in Inferno, which was quite cool. Johnny was trying out the Scintillating Legion, the Zinch, which I suspect when he decided to take it was probably a vibier choice than it was by the time they actually got to the event, because obviously the chickens are quite established as quite a powerful little army at the minute. Scott Peary brought Deceptors CSM, which is a very blocky, die for the cause, lots of cultists, but he also had triple Vindicator, Terminators, various other bits and pieces, double Obliterators. So some quite nice tricks. I actually really liked his list. Sorry?
Did he have a Nemesis Claw as well?
He did not have a Nemesis Claw. No,
it's
Nemesis
not a real
Claw.
Night Lords list, then, is it?
No. Well, this is Deceptor. So this is Alpha Legion, mate. This is
that the Alpha Legion? Oh, why do I muddle the two up? Oh, God. It's because they could be both and neither.
And then Josh Roberts was playing 18 Victrix Guard.
It's like someone forgot to text him. It was like everyone else got the memo, but Josh wanted to bring the hard.
Josh chose violence. And I can tell you, not to give anything away, but Josh scored 100 out of 100 points this weekend. So precisely 0 prisoners were taken.
And
I saw him punching a puppy as well.
That's no way to talk about Doddy.
So yeah, we for pairings for this one, we basically, this is one where the sort of the cruelty of teams kicks in when you're in a situation like this, right? Because essentially we have to murder their most fun list, which is the Deceptors, because that's where we can get some points. We have to try and beat or hold up the Chaos Knights, hold up the chickens, and then we're kind of accepting that Josh is realistically going to murder whoever he plays, and we're just trying to get it to a draw by leveling all those things out, right? And that's kind of how we went with pairings.
That was the plan.
That was the plan.
Did you execute the plan?
Yeah, I think they played the reserves quite well because they sort of leveraged Lee down into the chickens, which was suboptimal, I think, for us, Lee having to play against the chickens. I got the Deceptors, so I had to go big in that game. And Doddy and the Admech went into Nathan's Chaos Knights, which we felt reasonable. That's a game that I think the Admech can hold their own in. And that meant, of course, that lovely Chris was sacrificed onto the altar of Josh Roberts and trying to hold him up and trying to stop him. So as an inkling of how that went for Chris, I shall read his little report here. Victrix and Josh Roberts on supply drop. This meant I was never going to score any primary, and I couldn't deny his points either. Afterwards, he said that I had at best been playing for 1 point. Brutal.
I
Victrix
love
are
when people say
stupid.
that. It's the best. They'll go, oh yeah, you might have got a point if you'd been a bit.
But
like,
that is
better.
true because Chris got 35 primary, which is a good. Sorry, 35 secondary, which is a good secondary score, and still got no points out of this game because Victrix just sat on the middle for supply drop and just were there all game, and the GK couldn't get them off without dying. So that was kind of what we anticipated.
It's all right. They'll just put their points up and it'll fix it, Tom.
And Doddy against Nathan Roberts. This went the way that supply drop sometimes does, which is that Nathan went first, realised the default game state was that Doddy wins because he's gone second and he can get on the objective at the end, and just full sent 4 big knights at Doddy immediately. And I remember looking over in about turn 2 and there were big knights all over Doddy's backfield because I think the admech hadn't been able to clear them quickly enough.
Oh no.
And basically Nathan overran him. But that was exactly the right call from Nathan to just go for it. And unfortunately they sort of were able to basically stat check the admech for 1 turn, and that was all they needed to then be all over the place and causing mayhem.
Gosh.
And Lee got to play against the chickens of Johnny Simmons.
I did. It's always a pleasure to play Johnny, first of all. It's always good fun. We always have a good laugh. But again, the terrain layout 5, bloody stupid layout. There's nowhere to hide. There's nowhere to stage or hide. You are in the open. If you want to be anywhere in an objective, you're in the open. It's crazy. And then you've got the constant threat of indirect, because all Johnny has to do is send screamers where they can see you, which is anywhere, and then your chickens are the one chicken can fire indirect, then Gyros Weaver can fire indirect. And the scary thing is, because what the dice called? Flux dice.
Flux dice.
So if you're doing D3 damage, because this is the old rules, not flat 3. So he can flux dice the damage anyway. So you're pretty much going to get hit for 2 or 3 damage every time.
Yeah.
And I think 2 turns of indirect killed a Winged Demon Prince.
Yeah, not good.
That's before they get buffed.
Yeah.
So when it comes to upcoming tournaments, guys, look out for those because they slam. So did my best. We Tormentor Missile, guys. I've been bigging this up all the way through.
This was his moment.
I said to Johnny with the confidence of a man who's won his first 3 games, Johnny, what I'm going to do here is see those 3 flamers. I'm going to charge them with this Lord Exultant, who is then, I'm going to measure this out just so we know that it's all fair. I'm going to then 6-inch piling into these screamers that are hiding behind this wall. And then after I've killed those, I'm going to pile into this chicken in the back. And that, my friend, is game, set, and match. I didn't say that last bit, but it sounds cool. So went through the process, got in the right positions that I needed to be, advanced 4, made my 6-inch charge, hit those flamers, those 3 flamers with the Lord Exultant. He goes crazy. He gets his 8 attacks with his lethal sustains, and I think I killed 2 flamers, not 3.
Oh,
and then part B and C of my plan failed. And, I was sad.
Oh.
That's the only time at the event where the Lord's like, you know what, I wish I had some infractors backing me up rather than tormentors.
But it was unbelievable. Johnny rolled 4s like an absolute hero. And they then got killed. But we had a lovely game, and we talked through everything. We looked at my opportunities to actually send into him, and I think by about turn 3 we were like, this would have to be the turn that I go. I've not been able to get close enough to you. It's going to involve risky advances, risky charges, because Be'lakor had come out by turn 3 because he had to open a rhino up on an objective to stop me getting really good primary. And then his 3 chickens for the whole game just sit in the back corners. They can pick up and move to a different space. So I can't really interact with them because they're so far away from my staging points, which are terrible staging points on this map, that if I went full hero, I could have just then got absolutely smashed and failed to connect. So we played out a 10-all draw. I scored really good primary. I zeroed Johnny out for 2 turns, but with going first on supply drop, you're always going to give them that massive turn of 15 at the end. So 10-all it was. But fabulous game.
Yeah.
But again, those distances just didn't help me out.
Yeah. And I think the chickens is tough for EC, so I think getting there is a very solid result as well. So, and certainly Lee had got 10, and there were a lot of chickens still kicking about at the end of the
all
game.
of them.
Yeah, literally all of them.
Oh gosh.
So I think getting a 10 out of that game set is very solid and very commendable. So yeah, that was very solid there, and essentially that left me versus the Deceptors.
Nice.
And ultimately, the Deceptors are cultist bodies, marine bodies, and tanks. He's got the Terminators and the Obliterators, which gives. I think if he uses all of this in concert, very aggressively, there's a win there. Or at the very least, there's a lot of primary there as I scramble to clear him out and deal with him. I think Scott sort of let me play a little bit piecemeal and sort of pick him off, and he was a little bit tentative. Especially once he'd gone first, he was quite tentative. I think he should have just gone for just sticking and pushing and jamming everything and just causing as much mayhem as he could with all the bodies, and then using the Oblits. I think there are some fun combos you can achieve there with Deceptors, but I think Scott was a little bit very daunted by the Wind Rider and the nonsense that can do. And as we've said, on this particular deployment, it was very hard to hide. So if you've got an uppy downy, lots of shots, bike army looking at you from the other side, that's quite stressful, I think, in that sense. We had a very good game. Scott didn't get the luck he needed. He needed some charges to go off. It didn't happen. And I was able to just sort of clear through one side once again. This time it took a bit of nickel and diming to kill one of the other Vindicators after we're going to kill one of the other ones. I think actually a Storm Guardian killed it with a Shuriken pistol in the end, just one shot.
And they just walked away as it blew up right behind it.
Yeah. Guardians I had in the list, they were amazing in this game because they just charged that Vindicator on that objective and stickied it and kept him busy for a turn or two. And I do really like that unit in Eldar at the moment as a tar pit unit. But the bikes essentially picked off all the marine bodies and the cultists with the scatter lasers. It was hard for him to push back out because the Overwatch lanes from the bikes are really vicious. And then Fuegan just eventually you can't use him like Aspect Host. It's not like you can recycle him, but what you just use is at some point he just goes out and just goes, right, everything here is dead, and that's a bit of space on the board to play with, and that worked really well here. It just meant Scott didn't get primary, and I was able to lock in primary, so I got a big win there in the end. But I think we fell just shy of the draw. I think we were close. We got 32, and we would have needed 37, so five or so points off the draw in the end. Yep. But very well played, to emphasis on the D6. They went on to win the event. They are all phenomenal players. Scott was a really good lad and good player as well. And I think had taken the memeing more seriously than his teammates, so good on him for that. And I'm sorry that your punishment for that was Wind Rider. But really good round and very well done to them.
So after having your first speed bump where you're actually kind of potentially risking not getting a podium, what did you go into next? Was it something you could claw back in?
So... yeah, I think we paired down, if anything, didn't we, Lee?
Yeah, we played a team, HGC, who'd already lost 2 games, so we weirdly got paired down. I think we were kind of wondering whether there'd been a mistake or something, because there's a few teams that paired down.
Yeah, I think I don't know whether it was just that all the teams had played each other now and we were hitting that odd point where there was not, that we were sort of pairing down in that sense. But it felt like in the final round, a lot of the better teams at the event got lower pairings, which is obviously a bit hard, I think, on those teams who are there for a nice time, right? If you suddenly get paired up into the tryhards like us up at the top. But these guys were great. This was HGC, and they had big demons, but incursion, not chickens. Dark Angels, Wrath of the Rock, CSM. Yep. Pac-Bound, was it, Lee? What sort of CSM?
No, it was
Vets, was it?
Yeah, it was slightly similar to VSL's list.
VSL style, and then Warhorde Orcs. So a nice mix of things.
I've been waiting for this story. Cool.
Yeah.
So, Tom, how did the pairings go, and why did you get Orcs?
I really wanted the Orcs, and essentially what happened was Chris was getting his head around the 4-way pairings at this point, and what he was doing in the last couple of rounds was basically using it to get me something I could really hurt, which was obviously for our scores was working really well. And he did that again here because we basically had the choice between me going into the demons or me going into the orcs, and Chris was going to take whichever one. And Wind Rider into the demons goes one of 2 ways, real big, right?
Ups, right?
Really, I can't know that I actually kill that, because if I go in and I have a bounce off the invuns, then I'm just getting tabled. Wind Rider into orcs, I mean, a lot of 5-up save 2 wound guys running about, right? And then Shuriken is AP1 damage 2, and there's a lot of it. He did have a Morkanaut though, John, which is worth commenting on. And so I think we decided I'd go with the Orcs and Chris would hold the line against the Demons. Doddy was going to once again hold the line against another hold the line list in the Dark Angels. Nice. And Lee got the Long War, which Lee was pretty chirpy about all told, weren't you, Lee?
I like playing into Chaos because I know what they do.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you want to take us through that game?
Yeah. So I was playing against the lovely Richard Spencer, a veteran of the Long War. And he, again, he was there for fun. He was more of a hobby main. He loved playing Chaos. But again, similar to our Terminator Blood Angels friend, it was clear that he was still kind of learning different bits of the game. So he was questioning my combi weapon and combi bolter on top of my rhinos and how I had the ability to have all of those. And I'm like, well, you can have those too, my friend. And he made an error that even myself I've made before, is that he forgot to deploy his obliterators, and he found them at the very end of the game on the side of the board and went, oh shit, I forgot to put these on the board. I'm like, mate, what have you done that for? But no, it was a lovely fun game. We had a good laugh. And again, he suffered to the Tormentors, which admittedly I went to try and kill maybe one obliterator with them, just because I knew that the indirect would be really annoying for me. I ended up killing 2 when he failed all his saves, and then piled my Lord Eid for his second fight into the Warp Talons, which were staged behind the Chosen, killing 6 Warp Talons before we got a chance to use them. So again, that little combo was so good for the whole weekend. One thing that did make me laugh during the game, though, he had Vashtor. Vashtor, I know, is a really chonky boy.
Yeah.
But I thought, well, realistically, if I charge him with Lucius and then a Demon Prince, Winged Demon Prince, I should do it. Nope. I was stuck in combat with Vashtor for I think at least 2 turns.
That's amazing.
When I had to fall them both back away from him, and then get the 3 flawless blades that had pretty much done nothing all weekend to come out. But it was a good fun game. He enjoyed killing some of my stuff. I enjoyed killing his, and it was just nice to finish off. Finished 20-0.
Really good and awesome for Vashtor to turn up.
Did that make you want to dig your Vashtor out, Lee? Because I know you at the beginning of the Codex kind of run, you were trying him out desperately.
I think he is solid good because he is so durable. His sweep is 12 attacks, 8/2/2 on the sweep against Marines. He's
definitely solid.
In the current field we're seeing of a lot of power armor, that sounds a nice tool to have.
I think if you could quite happily take him to a GT and not be sad.
Oh, completely.
Yeah.
Completely. Elsewhere, Chris held the demons up beautifully. We were playing Purge the Foe, so this wasn't easy, right? And Chris, I think getting 9 out of big demons on Purge is pretty impressive, so he did very well there.
Wow. Yeah.
Doddy, 11-9 Doddy struck again, got an 11 against James Stewart. So those 2 lists doing exactly what they were supposed to.
When against Jimmy Stewart?
Yeah.
A proper
Jimmy
Christmas
Stewart.
event. Brilliant.
Exactly.
Can I jump in and say as well? So Chris did mention about the... so I played Richard Spencer, and he played his son William. So William wasn't. I think it was early 20s or late teens.
Yeah.
And Chris was unbelievably impressed at how good this kid was. He said like he was planning turns ahead. He was doing all the right things, and he made it really, really hard for Chris.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. I think Chris was really impressed with him and thought he was a fantastic player.
Future recruit them.
His note is Chaos Demons took the matchup to try and give Tom the best chance at smashing the Orcs. Big moment was turn 3 where I killed Scarbrand and Bellicor. That's impressive for Grey Knights. Will played it really well though and just did enough to win 11-9 by a single point. Another wonderful opponent. And he said he had 5 great games, lots of fun, epic event all round. And Chris certainly enjoyed, I think, getting his Banishers out. And he's in that nice spot now where he's played GK quite a lot. Banishers better than anyone else because he's actually played it, whereas everyone's been on Warpbane. And he's having a lot of fun with that. So he did great there. Doddy, again, very strong performance here. Wrath was one of the lists that we didn't fancy. I definitely didn't want to anywhere near it because Shuriken doesn't like 2-up save, -1 damage very much.
And EC doesn't want it either.
No, exactly. So I think he did a very good job there. And by this stage, we had 40 points, so I needed to find 4 for the win. And I got a bit more than that against the Orcs. I played against Tom. Tom was really nice. I was knackered at this point. It was the end of the event. I think it was one of those classic. We were both a little bit tired and tetchy to start off. But once we eased into the game, we had a real laugh with it. And Tom was a very tenacious opponent in quite difficult circumstances. Because I think the problem the Orcs had on that board, we were playing like the long ways deployment. And basically, I could just hit him massively on one side at a time. Unless he's not getting over the other side with the rest of his stuff. I went for him straight away from turn 1. I didn't do that every game, but I did here. Turn 1, I went in, blew up a battle wagon, killed 20 boys, and killed a couple of mega knobs and just pinned him down one side so I could start getting a foothold on the board. He then wars immediately in response because he needs the defense.
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted. I want to get the war done and out the way because he's not going to be able to use it very offensively. He could barely hit me because I was nowhere near him. So he's using it mostly to defend himself and get into position, and he can't really hurt me very much because I've stayed well clear of a lot of the army. And his Mega Knob's gone an absolute mad one and just refused to die for like 2 turns running back down. So I've cleared everything else on that flank, but one Mega Knob unit just goes nuts, killing stuff down that side. Eventually, Fuegan puts it down, but it takes most of the game for Fuegan's unit to sort that thing out. And they do. There's a turn where I go into the Mega Knobs with Fuegan and the 10 dragons. I'm like, if Fuegan can kill one of them, I think I'm okay. Doesn't do any damage. The Mega Knobs kill all the fire dragons except Fuegan. I'm like, brilliant. Okay, that's good. That's a good situation.
Nice.
But I think because he's used the war early and because it's purged the foe and his guns are quite minimal, at that stage, because I actually have space to be on the board and play, I can just, kill 3 things, be quite hard to get, keep doing it, keep killing more, keep killing more, keep killing more. And he did very well to just stay in the game and keep getting kills and keep scoring and pressuring. And I think he stopped me getting hold mores for the first couple of turns as well. But then eventually it was basically just the Morkanaut left. A bit like the Avatar. I was like, I've run out of stuff to deal with you. You can be alive, but nothing else can.
And it slowly trundles towards you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that Morkanaut was a hero because it killed Janezar, it killed Lycus, it definitely killed some other stuff as well. So it definitely took its pound of flesh. But in the classic elf style, it didn't get to kill anything that wasn't ready to die at that point, really, in that sense. But yeah, Tom's great. Really enjoyed my game with him, and I think we had a really good time with it. So yeah, all power to him for doing well with the Orcs there in very difficult circumstances.
Nice. And
that put us to 4-1 finishing up.
Nice.
I think if you'd asked us how we thought it would go going in, that would have been our sort of hope and estimation based on the rosters there, and we were very chuffed with that.
So that put you just shy of podium.
Yeah,
right?
we finished just shy of podium. We were 4th place. A couple of the other teams ultimately scored higher in some of their wins, so they finished above us, including Bogmasters, so well done to them. And I think it was Bad Moon Brawlers, the other one,
was the
and
other
then
one,
and then the Rules team.
And then the 6 guys.
Yeah, and that was. I think there's a hint of disappointment there because you're like, we've won every game except the winners of the event. But the reality is, in events, that's just how it goes, right? There's always the sort of
Icarus effect almost, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
It hits up, and then that knocks your points down quite a bit if it's a slight loss. Yeah,
exactly that. And I think that's where our comp, whilst our comp was really good for like the consistent wins, those the GK and the Avmate weren't smashing things. So it's like, so when you win, you're winning with a nice, consistent, steady, like 60-ish points. But if I think a couple of the other comps where they had very smashy lists, when they won, they went to 70 plus, right? So I think that's just one of those ones where, like, on battle points, the lists which are more volatile but give you the big wins can sometimes help you a little bit in the final places. But I think we felt like our comp really did its job and was really effective and very nearly got the draw in the biggest game as well, which would have been awesome if we managed to pull that off.
So, what would you do next time, do you think? Would you change the style of what you'd approach? Or do you think it was the right energy for it?
It was sick. It was really fun.
Yeah. To be fair, say first proper GW event on GW Train, and I absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
Just the vibe was great. You got there. You didn't have to stand in a car park in the cold waiting for doors to open. You sat in a lovely Bugman's bar. And then you went to a table that was beautiful and already set up. You went for
standing height, right, as well?
Nice tables with storage underneath.
Yeah.
You got to, again, go to a lovely lunch. Where was that? The pulled pork macaroni cheese.
That was phenomenal.
It was great.
So I ate that and an apple crumble, and then I nearly died. It was really good. It was so good.
So I'm down for more GW events. I absolutely
Yeah,
thought it was a
I
treat.
think completely sold on it. I think being in the hall there, having the painted terrain, having you feel very well looked after. The staff were amazing. You got the shop there as well. I bought some nice Drakari dice, some very pretty blue and yellow ones.
Nice.
So I just think, yeah, I think it feels very premium, doesn't it? Really, and
Yes.
that's a really
But
cool
it's not
thing.
a premium price though, right? It
No, it's
was
not.
like 65 a ticket,
Yeah,
including
yeah.
lunches. Like that used to feel expensive, but when you put into account that it's lunch
Yeah,
and where you are, that's
and of course
great.
you're in Nottingham, which is a really fun city as well, right? It's just
So Pit and Pendulum on Saturday night? Nice.
we didn't get too carried away, but it was
Yeah.
yeah, I think it was sensational, and I think we'll definitely try and go to more of them in the future. And I think us taking the weird stuff, it was funny. We took the weird stuff because we wanted to experiment a bit and try different things, make some content out of it, you know. Because I think there's interesting things to say about Peerless and Windrider and Vanish.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I really did come away from it really feeling like, for an ITT, I would probably encourage people to do something a bit weird as well. I think you want 5 people who understand their list really well going into a field that don't understand their list really well. I think that gives you a massive edge.
It's rather than trying to second guess what you should be taking.
Exactly.
Being well repped to what you are taking means you know what every little thing your units can squeeze out. Like I found that when I went to LGT, because I'd played Stormlance so much. By that point, I was like, I knew what each of my components could do, and I guess that's what you're like with like your Wind Riders. You know exactly where they can limit, the patterns they can go, and people won't understand that, but also encounter, you know, where they can't get to, so you can then plan ahead. So it's
it
feels like it swings both ways, right?
It felt like it had so much control in games where I understood the matchup well and the other person didn't, because like like a lot of Eldar lists, like if you don't immediately deal with it correctly, you're then probably too late because you're going to lose too much and you're going to struggle to get the momentum in the game. So it's got real sucker punches in it. I didn't really alpha strike much. I only really alpha struck in the Alt game because I had to, because I went first on Purge.
Yeah,
I think in the rest of the games it was more like just drawing someone in and then sucker punching was usually the way. Or if they pushed me, I'd hit them back really hard, and it was very good at that, which is quite nice.
Now you've played a GW event, Lee. What would you do differently in your list composition? Would it affect it much, or?
I think my kind of role in the team was try and get the decent some big wins and play the kind of melee counter. I think my list would change for sure. The bits
does
that
that, right?
but the bits that worked really well. Say all the Lord Exaltants with the big blobs and the Tormentors, they worked perfectly every time. I think I screwed the pooch a little bit with the Fights First blob in my very last game. I gave them away too cheaply, but apart from that, they worked really, really well. Lucius, well, I wasn't sold on him this weekend. He didn't do the business enough.
Yeah, it's a funny one.
And the Flawless Blades basically screened out my backfield.
That's a shame.
But no, they did, and then they came and punched something at the end of the game. But
in one game, it mattered, right? So having that tool rather than it being just a cheap scoring unit.
It's true. So yeah, the Tormentors did the home objective, and they did the other side of the board for And it just seems like this is my premium, superb, like 8-bound style unit, but they're sitting at the back waiting to kind of come and do something in turn 5.
They're not quite there yet, are they?
So what I'm hearing, Lee, is triple spawn. That's what we're doing.
They only killed 2 Marines on a good day.
Thinking.
it's something else. Maybe just squeezing in a footprints.
That's
getting rid of both of those and then having some extra just stuff. But the footprints would be great. Getting them up, the Lord Exaltants up to AP4 would be cool.
Yeah,
and you can get them. There's a strat that I actually never used. I don't think for the +1 AP. Didn't ever use it on weekend.
Very relevant in certain games though.
Yeah, but you just wanted the threat of being able to do the fight on death and all the other stuff. So getting those 4 CP and hugging them was really important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
We had a question from the chat from Ali G into Hood. Are you ready to go full Wind Rider host? I personally think pure Wind Riders is too fussy, too all in on the concept. I can see why people like it, but I just think being able to mix and max, 2 or 3 Phoenix Lords in to solve whatever problem you need solved is really good. And ultimately, it just freed the rest of the list up. And if you see it as, you have more than I had 4 units of ice. That's more than enough units to use all the rules that the detachment has. And then the Phoenix Lords and the Aspect Warriors are all so good at what they do already that they don't need a detachment really to be very, very useful. And you go on that basis. And it's how I feel about a lot of the Eldar detachments, actually, is that you just take some really good bits and pieces from the wider book and then take enough of it that you feel like, if you're like, will I use all the tools for 5 turns? Yeah, if you will. Doesn't matter. Don't need more than that. Beyond that, it's redundancy beyond what you need at that stage. Ali G runs 18 win rolls. Yeah, there you go. So you get it. I think 24 is the sweet spot for me. I don't think I would want more. I might add Shining Spears if I wanted to get cuter with it at some point.
Just not Shroud Runners, unfortunately, right? Because that data sheet's...
They're okay. They're okay. The strip cover's nice.
But you've got that from your Warlocks, right?
I haven't quite used them yet. Yeah. I'm going to do more with it because it was a lot of fun to play. Not always fun to play against.
It's a bit more of a celebration of the strength of the data sheets, I'd say, for Eldar. I don't think every army can get away with doing.
It's just such a phenomenally well written book, and it enables you very aggressively, basically.
Yeah, cool.
That's the benefit with EC as well, is you are pretty much playing the same army in every detachment because you don't have any data sheets.
No. They'll get a new book next time around that'll probably fix it.
Yeah, there'll be a next wave, I'm sure.
It feels like it anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Well, that was really not helpful to my FOMO, guys, because it's impossible to get tickets for Warhammer World events because they're so good.
Yeah.
And now I really want to go to one even more.
We'll make it work. Yeah. We'll make sure we get a couple of Plus teams out to the next one.
Because they're great for events full stop. So they do things like doubles up there as well and all the other game systems. So it's a great weekend. And I think that's what I'm getting from you guys, is that this wasn't just like when you go to ITT and it's like you play 5 games, you just get absolutely knackered, you end up with a 3-2 overall as a team, and you forget about it instantly. It sounds like you've had great games, great memories.
Yeah,
it was a weekend away with friends, which sometimes I think the big ones become less of.
I think that's
more about chasing a result, which
it felt very old school in that sense, and I think you're completely right. And I think that's probably the one flip side of the success, isn't it? And having such a big team now is that it is hard to catch up with everyone and get that quality time.
Yeah.
So I think finding ways to build that in is really good. I mean, ultimately, this was Jack Doddy we have to thank for it because it was him. He'd got a ticket. He'd initially offered it to Chris and said, "Do you want to find 4 people to take to this?" And we were like, "Don't be silly. We're not taking you if it's your ticket, and you we want you to come." And he had a great time and was the amazing ambassador for our team that he always is. We just hope he cuts the sugar habit out at some point before
he's got to have some
rots.
He's probably going to start saving that money to put towards all the crazy conversions he's doing for his
Well, absolutely, yeah. Absolutely.
And he's doing Votan at the moment as well.
He is. He's doing Rat-Tan. Yeah.
Jesus.
Rat-Tan. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, well done, everyone. And well done, Chris, as well. And well done, everyone we played. We had an amazing time. And thanks for putting up with us.
Perfect.
We had a great time there. Wonderful.
So, that's us done until Thursday, right now?
Yeah.
Have we got anything lined up for next week as a show, or are we having a week off?
No idea, mate. No idea.
Cool.
I finished
we'll let you all know
on Friday, so I'll figure that out. It'll be something. We'll do something.
A quiz.
The main thing is, guys, that on Thursday night, John and I are playing doubles together. It's
finally
BA Dreadnoughts with Admech horses against assassins and Necrons.
Crazy horses.
From 7 o'clock. And you, the listener, will be able to impact the game with super chats in fundraising efforts for our stream setup that we're trying to take to the World Team Championships next summer. So if that sounds like something you want to create some mayhem with and introduce a little anarchy to, we'll see you there. Amazing. Lee, thank you for coming on. Well done for killing everyone. Feels like you're up to speed with the Emperor's Children, having a great time, so that's what we want to see.
Brilliant. Loving it.
Yeah, absolutely. Scrivo, thanks for hosting, mate. It's been really fun.
My pleasure.
And we will see you all again very soon. Bye-bye.